TV African Stage Show one more time. We have a new panel. We're here today with Mr. Omar Frank. He is an activist, a musician, event organizer. He is deeply involved in the cultural sector. He organizes a lot of cultural activities. Give us information. He's also involved in this African Cinema Festival that's taking place every summer in Belgium, in Antwerp here especially. So he is an advocate of good things that will happen to Africans, black people in general in this country. Please welcome Mr. Omar Frank on stage. And we have a sister here, Gloria. You can see her afro. She's a half Ghanaian and half Belgian. She lives in Ghent. Her father is from Ghana and her mother is a Belgian. She's a singer, a rapper, performer, and she's here today to give us some good songs. She's going to perform, going to give us a good mellow song that she has performed, that she's written herself, and she's going to feature Mr. Omar Frank on guitar. Please give Gloria a big round of applause. And we have Pastor Promise. Pastor Promise is a pastor of the Strong Tower Ministry in Belgium, and they are very strong. He is leading a lot of people, into the promised land here. You can do without promise. He is always there for you. Just give him a call. You'll see. Please, give a applause. Okay. And we have my brother here, Pastor Jackson Israel. Operero Ijo Operero, he has his own church as well. The Church of God Mission, the Belgian branch in Torrance. He is here today to also contribute to these multicultural issues that we are all talking about. Please, a big round of applause to Pastor Jackson. My first question will go to Mr. Omar Frank. Mr. Omar.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome to the African Stage Show.
Thank you, Frank.
You are married to a Belgian.
Was married.
You were married to a Belgian. You are not divorced.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Excuse me. All right. And you also have a child together.
Yes, I have a son, yeah.
You're from Senegal, right?
I'm from Senegal.
Okay. You've been in this country for ages.
For years here in Paris, wherever. I've been
Okay. Now, tell us a little bit about your experience in this multicultural world that we are all in. Give us some stories. Tell us, what do you feel?
Yeah, well, I think it's a complicated question, but I will try to answer. I don't think when you come here, you get involved into a relation. Yes, but you have some issues coming up because of your background sometimes. But into my relation specifically, we didn't have those cultural conflicts. We didn't have cultural issues. We had just individual issues as a couple. We were in love. As every family, we had some problems like this. But sometimes what you have is behaviors, sometimes the communication, because in Africa, or in Latin America, or in India, or in Middle East, people communicate in a different way. And my way of communicating, of my way of reacting to something she did or something I did, the way she reacted on it, is, how can I say, is misinterpreted. It's a bad interpretation of my reaction, who leads to another wrong, a higher, a small problem, but it's going to be a big problem because of a bad interpretation. I mean,
yeah, the build-up.
Sorry for my English. I'm a French speaker, so I'm just trying to
get
English, right?
You're doing a great job. Okay.
But what I want to say here is just sometimes you get some bad interpretation, and I think sometimes it's more a communication problem than a cultural problem. So I think people who are together and from different horizons should communicate more, explain more their behaviors, explain more their reactions, so that the other one can understand. You know what I mean? And it has to come from both sides. Sometimes what you have, and I think some people say before I said it, sometimes you have some other issues, and it depends from the family or it depends from that person, who have a superiority complex. A superiority complex means, all right, my culture is the dominant culture, your culture is the subordinate culture, right?
Yeah.
And because that person is referring to some historical facts of some stereotypes, some wrong facts who has been supposed true, like, okay, Africans are on that kind of way, stereotypes, and being based on that stereotypes, she have an analyzing prisma who make her interpreting more bad, so sorry for my English again, on a more bad way, a situation. So then comes a situation of misunderstanding. And in any couple, in any relation, when there is a problem of misunderstanding, you have more problems coming into it, right? And so it gets worse, And when the problem is there, sometimes we interpret, okay, it's because of culture. Okay, it's because of, we don't understand each other, because you're black, because I'm white. But it's not true.
Mr. Frank, thank you very much for your point of views, and
thank you.
Appreciate your your input. Okay. Right. You are a pastor.
Yes.
A very active one.
Thank you.
To be precise. You minister to a lot of women.
Yes.
And you've been dealing with this issue of cultural, multicultural, and you've been dealing with other issues beside that, girls who need counseling, who wants to change their way of life, who have been forced into a job, that they were not planned to in their life, and got into it, via, and got stuck,
That's right.
and you have been there to
That's right.
deliver them, get them out.
Yes.
Out of the mess. Have you been confronted with these issues of culture, violence, or personal problems in your counseling?
Yes, like the people who spoke have rightly said, it's a very big thing, and you can get this in every aspect of life. And that's why sometimes when you talk about multicultural problems, you probably have to specify which area you really want to deal with. Because if you talk about it generally, we'll be dealing with a whole big ball that you cannot be able to touch at the end of the day. And we, like some people said, I could talk about a lot of it concerning relationship, because by the grace of God, I've been able to walk into that area of life so strongly in the area of relationships, or also because of where we live, and because we stay here, we intermingle with people with different cultures. Talking about that also, I also come to understand most of the problems is not actually because we have different cultures. It's a problem of understanding. And you can live with anybody if you can understand them. I feel what big problem is a problem of ignorance. When people are ignorant of your culture, then they abuse it and look down on you and treat you like their own culture is better or stronger than your culture. But it's a problem of ignorance, because what you don't know, you abuse. You see, and so in the area where I work and I operate actually in the church, and a lot of times, like you rightly said, moving to the society by the grace of God, we help people with life controlling problems, and that simply means that the girls who are out actually in prostitution areas and things like that. And we have seen most of the time that people, because they are here in this place, and because of the place we find them, and people sometimes in the society look down on them, but the problem actually is not, they look down on them not because of their culture, but because they place themselves in that direction. You see, because if you place yourself in different dimension and in different area also, the people also will treat you differently. Simply said, people treat you exactly how you treat yourself. You see, what you give into life is what you get out of life. Life is a mirror.
Well, that's really hard to believe.
It's hard to believe, but
Yeah.
that is what life is all about. I treat you actually how you treat yourself. If you don't treat yourself nice, everybody around you will treat you